So here's what I'm thinking. It's time for me to take a stand on the marriage amendment in Minnesota. As part of my goal to live my life intentionally, it's also clear there are times I will have to live my life more publicly. Hopefully with some grace and humility. But there are things in my life I believe very strongly, and I can't just think these things. Like many aspects of life, belief is best when shared, as long as, of course, I remember about the grace and humility part. I have to be honest with you, this is not my first attempt at a blog on the marriage amendment. I just deleted 2 incredible pages full of logical and passionate argument on the topic. I deleted them because, well, logic is a great technique to use for issues of the head. But this issue is a heart game. Mostly, however, I deleted it because people do not come together over arguments. And we really, really need to come together on this one. Now, normally I am one of those people are allowed to believe what they want to believe, guys, as long as the beliefs are theirs and not someone else's talking points, and that those beliefs are well thought out and at least congruent to their own integrity. Truly, usually the answer is somewhere in the middle and does not just live in my house or in my head or in my heart. But in this case, I think perhaps the stakes are just too high. We're talking about real lives and real loves, and the answer just too basic for us to overthink this. I recently read an exceptional article by Eboo Patel, the founder of the Interfaith Youth Corps, who was writing an article about how Muslims and Christians should not fear each other's faith. Patel writes this: "There is a story about the Prophet Muhammad debating with a Christian delegation about the differences between their respective traditions. When the debate was over and it became time for the Christians to pray, the Prophet surprised them by inviting them to pray in his mosque, saying that just because their traditions had differences did not mean they should not respect each other or show hospitality to their faiths." My take on this story is simple. Despite their differences, Muslims do not gain by not allowing Christians to pray, or vice versa. Nor was Muhammad's faith at all diminished or lessened by allowing Christians to pray, even in his own mosque. Yes, what religion we practice may be different, but what is needed in the world is more faith, more mercy, more generosity. Less faith serves no one. Keeping people from practicing a religion, any religion that believes at its core things like hope, charity, peace, and love, rare and precious items indeed, even if their religion is different than yours, makes the world a less beautiful place. So, why mention an article about faith in the middle of a blog on the marriage amendment? Because I believe the same thing is fundamentally true about same-sex couples that are in love. As a heterosexual man still crazy about my life after 20 years of marriage, I gain nothing by keeping a same-sex couple from marrying. I just don't. Nor is the love for my wife or my children at all diminished or lessened in any way by the marriage of a same-sex couple. It just isn't. In fact, my marriage and the world that I, my wife, and my children live in may actually be lessened by not allowing these people to come together. Because who we choose to love may be different, but what is needed in this world is more love, more commitment, more community, more connection. Less love serves no one. Keeping people from entering into marriage, any marriage that has at its core things like love, trust, commitment, fidelity, rare and precious items indeed, even if their marriage is different from yours, makes the world a less beautiful place. Have you been out in the world lately? It feels a little bit colder, a little scarier, and a lot more isolated than it used to be. Have you had a deep conversation with a young person lately? They seem a bit more jaded, a lot less hopeful, and a lot more isolated than they used to be. Perhaps what is needed and needed urgently in this crazy and mixed up world is more people who are willing to come together and stand up in front of their families, in front of their friends, and yes, even at times in front of their God, and make a commitment to love, to hold the hand of the person that they care deeply about and look them in the eye and say, "What do you think, love? You and me against the world, for better or worse, till death do us part." And any love that can feel that and want that and sustain that is a love we could use more of, no matter what the genders involved. Don't you think? No. When it comes to love, less isn't more. Less love serves no one. What we need is more. More love. More so than ever.